Hey, I am Sharnika and hopping right in because I am alone. So it's quiet right now. And I want to follow my theme for this year, which is consistency is alignment in action, right? So it's really important to me to get this video recorded and posted. Um, for this topic, for this video's topic, I want to build off of what we talked about last week, which was, God builds confidence before changing circumstances, right? So, pivoting just a little bit in this video, I want to talk about how or why, excuse me, you might not feel confident right now and what you can do instead in those moments. And so, it's the end of January. And, year after year, everyone at the beginning of the year sets these goals, these extravagant goals. And if we're being honest, by the end of January, many people are already starting to flake, whether it is going to the gym consistently, whether it is reading every day, maybe it's eating healthy, maybe it's putting yourself out there, maybe it's being kinder, maybe it's you are trying to, put forth more effort at work or put forth more effort in, taking care of yourself, self care. Um, Whatever the case might be, it is more common than not that people start flaking already. And, you may get caught up in, I've been doing this for 2 weeks, I've been doing this for 3 weeks. Why am I not feeling different yet? Right. And so I want to first bust the or do a myth buster, um, because I feel like there is this idea that confidence equals perfection. And that is just so far from the truth. Um, Truthfully, confidence, if we try to build confidence in ourselves versus building confidence in God, I believe that right there is what can make or break, how we're feeling on a day to day and, you know, how we are continuing or not pursuing our goals, right? I hope that makes sense. And so, our confidence, again, it should be in the Lord. Our job is just to remain obedient. Okay. So, very, very simple, but very easy to forget, you know. And so, to help us remember, and to encourage you, I want to talk about a couple ways to do that. Okay. And so there's a there is a saying, it's like where attention goes, energy flows, right? And so a lot of times our confidence gets pulled away from God and from the truth because of just what we are exposed to day to day. Busy life with family, busy life with works. And in both of those alone, you have so many different personalities and, possible attitudes that are distracting you and pulling you away. Also, TV can get you distracted and take your mind elsewhere if you're watching the news, or maybe you're just watching a show that kind of pulls your attention and starts getting your mind thinking in a different way. Maybe it's the music that you're choosing to listen to. Maybe it's social media. I think that's one of the bigger ones is social media. And, maybe it's just fear of missing out and focusing on what you're losing versus what there is to gain, right? And so I want to encourage you just to be intentional, um, in shifting your perspective and encourage you to do it daily. Okay. And so some of the things that I do daily and some of the things I know work and have even just this month made a huge difference. Some of these things I'm going to mention, they're definitely things that I started anchoring down on last year. And now this year, I'm just a lot more confident starting the year off. It's a lot easier for me. And when I say easier, I don't necessarily mean it's easy all the time, but it is easier. It's easier for me to convince myself on a day to day, right? And so praying and, getting to know God, praying and getting used to talking to God. I know a lot of times it could feel like you don't have anyone to listen, especially if you haven't had the opportunity or haven't gotten to the point where you have that faith or Christian community that you can really lean on yet. Anchoring down in prayer, and you want to anchor down in prayer whether you have that community or not. But when you have that community, they can pray with you, right? But you want to definitely work on being able to do that by yourself, especially. With that, with prayer, you want to learn how to then be still and listen, right? And, you know, maybe once you have leveled up, and me too, once we have leveled up, maybe we can be still and just kind of hear God. And I know he talks to all of us in different ways, but one way that you can certainly hear his voice, once you pray, get into your word. Your word is the voice of God, okay? His truth, his advice, his comfort, it is in the word. No matter what, you can find it in there, okay? And then just repeating that, right? Make a habit of it. Whether you are really feeling it or not, the more you do it, the more used to it you will get. Um, and then journaling your thoughts, whether it be, gratitude journaling and counting your blessings and reminding yourself what God has brought you through. If you can't remember something that God has brought you through, journal something that about somebody that God has brought somebody else through, right? And I want to just remind you that confidence grows when you move and allow God to be your anchor, right? And I want to leave you with the scripture to go and study on your own, because you want to get in your word on your own. But, you know, go and check out Matthew 14. And that is the story about Peter walking on the water. You know, it was a storm going on. Um, Jesus came walking on the water towards the boat, calmed the storm. Um, Peter, everyone was shook. And Peter went focused on God, and he was able to walk on the water, right? And so we might be in a storm, but when we can focus on God, he can quiet that storm down, right? And then you're able to face it with that peace beyond understanding, right? But again, that repetition is going to be so important. Um, so yeah, just check it out. I don't like to go too much into a scripture because we can all get a little bit of something different out of it. But I do want to encourage you to look into Matthew 14 to go along with this topic. So, um, yeah, that's all I have. That's all I have. Like I said, it was really important to me to get this video recorded just so that I can stick with my theme for this year. And yeah, if you have any topics or any struggles that you are facing, um, that you might want me to address, because I'm sure in some way I'm facing it too, leave a comment below. But otherwise, thank you for watching. I hope it was, some help for you, or you found some value in it. And I hope that you be blessed and be a blessing. Thank you so much. Bye.